All right, back again. 5 more crucial questions for yet another Kung Fu master, this time legendary status. Let's go. Yes, Kung Fu Chronicles back again. Happy holidays. Hope everyone is doing well, staying safe.
What day is it?
What day?
Goddamn Christmas!
Thanks so much for all the overwhelming support lately, with all the new content coming out. Appreciate all the love. If you haven't already, check a few videos out below, but do not do that yet. Latest though, we have a spotlight from Mr. Bay Logan on there, part 1 at least. I promise we'll get to part 2 after this because it was so good. Had to break up in 2 because there's just so much the man had to talk to me about. Okay, if you haven't already, subscribe below, hit the little bell, get all those notifications as you know, so you'll be up to date on all the latest content we're putting out. Of course, check my social media as well. That way you'll get all the behind the scenes on up and coming things that I've got planned. And yes, of course, this time we're going to do another 5 crucial questions for yet another Kung Fu master. I promise this one to be a legendary status. Let's just talk names. Master Tayari Casel, Oso Tayari Casel, known throughout the world as Kung Fu's first fighter. Inside Kung Fu labeled him that, and many people renowned in the industry consider him that. The man is brilliant, has so much to talk about, including his Kung Fu history, fighting history, and more. So this time we're gonna spring over to Maryland, well at least virtually, and see what the man has to say. Let's go! Legendary Oso Tayari Casel. The man is a noted martial artist. He is a noted fighter, educator, a recipient of many awards. I mean, so many other things I could say about you, but first I want to introduce you correctly to the show. And welcome, sir. How are you?
We give the thanks for the blessings because, and as I always say, in the name of God, the beneficent, the merciful, the giver and sustainer of all life, from whom all blessings flow and to whom all praise is due. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of your show, and to whomever it may reach, and whatever words that I may say that gives information and enlightenment or questions. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. And while we're on the subject of knowledge, I'm hoping to gain a little insight and knowledge from you. I hope the viewers do the same. Normally I ask, people how they got started, but I'll fill in some gaps and then you kind of tell me, because I have a kind of listing of your history and know a lot of it already, because I'll just put it right out there. You're one of the martial artists when I was starting, and I've been doing it for like 20 or so years, 20 plus years. I used to see you. You were one of the most prominent figures because you would be on the covers of, back when they had publications like Inside Kung Fu. You would be on the covers of, those magazines, Black Belt. Knowing about Oso Tayari Casel was like, you were one of those, like men that I looked up to. Was like, man, they've got, because it was great because, as you know, this is mostly an Asian dominated art. But to see men of color doing the same thing and doing it so well was always, one of those highlights, like as I was coming up, someone to look up to, so to speak. I wanted to start, with your history a little bit. I know you started at the age of 12, if I'm not incorrect. I know you started in Chicago, you're originally from there, and you started in karate, if I'm not mistaken, after seeing someone like break bricks and all that kind of thing.
As I mentioned to you before, there was a possibility that one of my girls was gonna come up.
Yeah, no problem. I love that.
To get into and to get into the interview.
But not a problem. He wants to let her be known. I get it.
This is my Canis Panther, and so you have to look her up to find out the breed. It's a new breed, and oh Lord, now here comes my German Shepherd.
Yeah, they get jealous. They get jealous.
Yes. Started at such a young age, started in karate or karate.
Oh, karate, empty hand.
I always thought it came from Buddhist temples and stuff like that.
You too much TV.
Under Grandmaster James A. Jones Jr. And the story and history is easily verifiable when you look at Official Karate Magazine or Inside Kung Fu. When I talk about, all of the teachers that I had, from him to Grandmaster Nganga Mfundishi Tolona, to New York with Grandmaster Raymond Nelson, with Grandmaster Shum Liang for Eagle Claw, and then a junior student of George Hu Ling, and who I did study with as well, but his junior classmate was Nelson So. I studied with for capoeira for a short time. I mean, just really, really minor time with Jalon Vieira, and then and that's in New York, and then in California with Mestre Dembe, who was connected to Jalon as well. But the most important was my study with Nganga Mfundishi Tolona, and his teacher, who I also practiced with, was Grandmaster Ho for Tai Chi Chuan. He's just an amazing man, Ho Chi Kwan. But nobody really impressed me more and taught me more than these African men who were studying the arts.
Nice.
And I have to say that because a lot of people get caught up in the Chinese, Korean stuff, but it has always been African men and women who made it work, who did it. And I know that can be controversial as a statement, but I can prove it by history.
Ever since I was a boy, all I knew was how to fight. Fight, fight, fight. And when I got tired, I would fight some more.
So, to talk about Grandmaster Moses Powell, Thomas Sapulpa, George Cofield, if I start running down the list of, Victor Moore, Steve Muhammad, these great men, I came up under them. These are not people that I'm just reading about. I have been in their presence. I have talked to them. I got them on, like, I can push the button and then the phone rings. They're going to answer the phone for the ones who are still with us.
We're still here,
Am I making sense to you?
No, yes, sir. No. And I love it.
So my history is with great Black men. And I will always talk about them. So I got Ron Van Cleef, who, God, we are related in different ways. So, it's not just a question of martial skill that's really important. I'm also talking about like life stuff.
I'm wondering back because you started training back like in the late 60s, and it's like obviously into the 70s, and your career really evolved, and you got more on the fighting circuit and stuff. But I'm wondering, when you first started, how was that vibe? Because I think we kind of take it for granted as martial artists in this era, this time, where you literally just walk into a studio, say, I want to sign up for a class, and sign on the dotted line, you're done. But back in the 60s, where it's like literally the civil rights era, and tensions are high and things are different. How easy or hard is it as a Black man to just walk into a martial arts studio and say, hey, I would like to do this?
No. When I came up, um, they weren't teaching African American men or women.
Okay.
They wouldn't even allow that.
Right.
Robert Trias, who at that particular time, he was the head of the USKA, the United States Karate Association, and he was a racist stormtrooper out of Arizona. Oh no, I'm not holding back. If you want to talk,
please don't. No.
He didn't like and discriminated against Black folks. And then he relented at some point because of, I believe, Grandmaster Jones, my teacher, and then made him the Illinois representative for the USKA. But John Kean, who had the other name of Count Dante, he was the person who broke the tradition and said, yeah, I'm going to accept Black folks into my school. But the Black men, Talona, but known then at that time as Raymond Cooper, Robert Brown, Jimmy Jones, he accepted them into his school. These were the fighters and the champions.
Sure.
And they made it work.
Right.
So I come from a lineage and a history of fighters and champions. So what else am I supposed to do?
Let me ask you quickly though too, since you did start in karate and then moved over to Kung Fu, what was it about Kung Fu that kind of spoke to you more?
There's a documentary, there's a couple of documentaries that I'm involved in. One of them is the Black Kung Fu experience.
I've seen that.
That thankfully, because of Grandmaster Ron Van Cleef, I was involved in that. The other is Urban Dragons.
Yes, sir. About that.
Black and Latino masters in the Chinese martial arts. There's another one called Docs in Progress. But in it, I talk about that karate allowed me to learn my body and to move in a particular kind of way. But it was holding me back in terms of my spirit.
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to operate in the lines that were given to me. But James Brown Godfather of soul.
Sir.
And I have a connection that when I move, I'm gonna get off.
Right.
I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
So the fighting had to be like that. Kung Fu allowed me to move in another kind of circular manner that fit in with my fighting and energy and spirit. Now, the next generation of that was my teacher, Nganga Talona, who was teaching me the Northern Shaolin Chong Chuan. But then it evolved into his study of the African martial arts, and that's when the Kupigana Ngumi came in. Then I could get off.
Okay.
Now I could release everything that I was interested in doing. So I could do James Brown. I could do the African dance. I could do the snake ground fighting. I could do all of that through that. And so then that's who I am.
And it's a great transition, because I was going to ask you specifically about the ground fighting, because in Kung Fu, you were really one of the only people using ground techniques at that time that I had seen, at least. Even in your fights, even in one of your most famous fights at Madison Square Garden, and I know you know what I'm talking about, that was on ABC Wide World of Sports. Honestly, I think that's actually probably maybe the first accredited mixed martial arts, if you wanted to call it that, kind of competition.
That's something that has been said by several people, that it was the first grand kind of exposure of mixed martial arts, because it was the supposedly kung fu versus karate, or vice versa. And while I didn't get a chance to completely demonstrate the full element of my ground fighting, but that's because of the referee that didn't allow that to take place. But it was an introduction, but I had been doing it for many years. And I can say that it became noteworthy. It was definitely adversarial. People had to contend with it, because I was as happy fighting somebody from the ground as I would be standing up.
Right.
And the idea of it bore out of my Chicago era, and then fighting, and then me being able to express myself like completely. Am I making sense to you?
Yeah, yes. No, you are, because that was kind of my question, was like, you were one of the first to do it, and I wondered if you picked that up basically because you saw that was lacking, or you just naturally felt comfortable that way. You were already answering.
It was something that I saw that, like, I'm supposed to be able to fight anyway, in every way.
Right.
When my friend Chuck Norris, when he put together a team,
yes, sir,
back in 1975.
Chuck Norris is currently suing NBC, claiming Law and Order are trademark names for his left and right legs.
Yeah. All of these karate people, all this stuff, and he said, "I want you."
I was going to ask you about that, how he chose you.
I'm the only non-karate person on the team, and he said, "No, I need you.
Right.
You're going to be on the team."
I heard another rumor that you were bitten by a king cobra.
Yeah, I was. But after 5 days of agonizing pain, the cobra died.
And so that was a great acknowledgement of my skill and ability, because, okay, it's Chuck Norris.
Yes, sir.
And I've known him before and way back, but it's him who said, I want you on the team. And yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to fight on your team, and I'm going to win, which I did. Yes. Third round, technical knockout.
No, I was actually going to bring that up, that Chuck Norris selected you, and you were the only kung fu practitioner out of all these karate guys that he chose. And I'd really love to talk to people about kung fu today and where they see it, and why, we still have this bad rap of, kung fu not really being about fighting. I mean, it's called martial arts after all, and I always contend with that as a kung fu man. I was like, well, there are people that have done it and still do it. I bring your name up a lot in that discussion. I guess I'm trying to ask, why do you feel it still has that stigma or that kind of bad rap to it to this day? Or
when I was coming up, one of the things that was it was really clear, if it was a kung fu person who signed up in a tournament, they were going to do forms.
Right. Yes, sir.
Great. But when it came time to fight, either two things would happen. One, they wouldn't fight.
Right.
Number two, if they stood up to fight, bang, they got busted out. In whatever capacity. Now, when I was coming up, as I said, what they would do is anybody that was going to fight, they would like to line up next to the kung fu guy because they knew it was going to be an easy fight. They found out it ain't going to be easy if you stand next to me. And I always tell people, I'm from Chicago. That's not just a geographical location. It's an attitude. I'm from Chicago.
That's the Chicago way.
Specifically your style, I know it's a blend of the Shaolin martial arts, but with the Kupigana Ngumi. Is that Swahili-based word, I believe, yes?
It is. Yes, it is. The art of self-defense is one way to describe it in the broader sense. In the literal sense, it's the fighting fists.
Yes.
But what's your question?
Oh, okay. Well, no, I was gonna ask you specifically about, and the reason why I bring up that Swahili because it's near to me because my name is Swahili. So even though I'm not directly from Africa, my parents chose a Swahili name. So I bring up the style because I love the fact that, you know, it basically is based on the fact that the warrior spirit, the African warrior spirit, you bring that lineage into the martial arts, into, you know, the Kung Fu training and all that. When you first started, I guess my question is, was there resistance from, say, your peers who may have said, oh, that's not traditional, or was it?
Of course. Okay. I mean, in every form or fashion, I went through that. But, you know, here comes the part. So yes, there was always the pushback. But here comes the other part. The reality is step on the line, make it work. So pop, 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 zip, zap, you can't touch me, zip, boom, boom, pop, it's done. So at that particular point, what else can you say?
So when you started your martial arts academy years ago, I personally love the fact that not only are you're teaching your art and everything, but you're also giving back to the community. I mean, I love that part of your history and how like it's just so prominent and well known. I particularly was curious about how you got started teaching at universities, specifically Howard University, because I have a little cousin who's going to Howard now. Anyway.
Who's Howard University?
My little cousin, her name is Leslie Butler.
You know, I'm gonna check on it.
Yeah, for sure. Little Leslie, if she's watching right now. also Tayari Casel, we're checking on you, making sure you. Well, you know now everything's remote now, remotely. But I wanted to ask you how you started teaching at the university as well, and had that always been part of your aspiration?
I taught at Howard University for 25 years, but now it's a special program, and the program is called the Howard University's Early Learning Program. 3, 4, 5-year-olds. I did it for 25 years.
Wow.
And it's from preschool to kindergarten, and then they go on off. And after that, and I started teaching there because, well, there was a martial arts instructor who was there before me.
Okay.
But he didn't work out. And again, I'm not mentioning names. But a parent said, look, you need to come over here and you need to teach. You need to do your classes. And so when I come to the school, the director of the program, Dr. Lynette Burns, she interviewed me. Like, she showed me around, you know, the facility, and then she said, "Excuse me, I'll be right back." So she went back into her office. So I'm sitting out, and a couple of the children had come in, And I started talking to the children.
Okay.
And I was sitting there talking to them and finished, and I'm laughing and joking, playing, with them. And I said, okay, see you later, Mom. So I got up and I walked back inside her office. It was a two-way mirror.
Oh.
She had been observing me all the time. And she said, when can you start?
Nice.
So Howard University. Oh, wait a minute. I got to give a shout out to another Bison, Jillian White, Michael Jai White's wife.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
a Bison. So,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
I always ask all my guests this: if people would like to train with you and get in touch with you, is there a website they can go to for your martial arts academy, or what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Be a good person, have a good heart and good spirit, and you will find me and connect with me.
Can I ask, are you accepting students, new students? Is that?
I'm accepting the people who have a good heart and good spirit and who are dedicated to training. Then yes.
This part of this, it's called the 5 Crucial Questions for Kung Fu Masters. I'm gonna roll
But
through.
I've already answered them.
Yeah.
Go for it. It was something that came about with the thought as a tournament, and I thought it needed to be expanded upon and to make it a national tournament. But I knew all the national competitors, so I invited them, and they said, "Hey, we're with you," and so that's how it came about. Cynthia Rothrock, George Chung, Steve Anderson, and Linda Denley. No, they don't, and it's because a lot of people don't understand the concept of fighting from the ground as a striking, the striking element of it. When you think about ground fighting right now, all it's about is wrestling.
Right.
Okay, you want to call it jiu-jitsu, blah, blah, blah. It's like wrestling. But I'm talking about striking from the ground. So it's different than you talking about somebody trying to do this to you. When you're talking about somebody who is doing that. Right. That's different. Right. I'm saying striking from the ground, blocking and defending from the ground. And understanding that even if the person is on top of you, punching, kicking, stomping at you, how do you defend and hold yourself together and then be able to come back? That's ground fighting. It's a totem for me. The Cobra is the main one. I've got the video when I guess you see the sun setting. It's getting darker behind me.
I know.
The Cobra stands out the most to me because it not only is it one of the most poisonous snakes, but also it can release the venom basically on choice. It can strike, but it hits you, but it didn't release the venom. That's the warning. So that's me telling you, you better chill out, man. You better back off. Because if I decide to come at you, then look, I'm trying to do something with my light here because of the background.
I like that.
But I can choose to take you out. So it's an awareness. That's another part of it. You know, that's important. So the Cobra also was the symbol for the pharaoh. So it was the Uraeans. So it's a sign of royalty, of consciousness. Inside Kung Fu said, I was Kung Fu's first fighter. Out of everybody else, Inside Kung Fu, the most prominent magazine, when they did the article on me in 2006, but they were searching through all the other stuff and all the other people who fought. But I'm the one who I did tournament karate, sport, kickboxing, full contact, bare knuckle fighting.
Yes, sir.
Utilizing, they said Kung Fu, but the Kupigana Ngumi was, at that point, was the main thing. But the Kung Fu got it all started for them. They said I was the first fighter. That it's not something that I claimed. It's not something that I said. So for all of the other people who were involved in Kung Fu and were fighting and doing that, I'm not saying that. But I am saying you didn't do what I did.
Sure.
And the way that I did it. Let me mention, Joe Louis, another person, the world heavyweight champion. Dan Anderson, Raymond McCallum, John Natividad, Al DeCascos. These are my contemporaries. I'm acknowledging all of my friends and my people. Always be prepared for an opportunity, because it's better to be prepared for an opportunity than not. Just do your best. You know, you can't move forward unless you are prepared. And one of the things that stands out is be kind, be gentle, but be strong. Do not forget who you truly are. Don't do that. That's it.
Oh yeah, we got it. Another 5 crucial questions with yet another Kung Fu master. Okay, listen guys, like, subscribe, share, in that order if you enjoyed the video. This is what obviously helps to keep the channel growing, and of course helps to get the word out on all the content that we're creating. And again, hit the comments below, let me know the questions you'd like to see answered, and of course the people you'd like to see here on future episodes. Thank you to Oso Tayari Casel for being a part of this video.
I am Oso Tayari Casel. Thank you for watching Kung Fu Chronicles, and make sure you tell other people about this particular program. God bless you.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I know we're all so ready for 2021, goes without saying. Check out a few other videos you might like while you're here. Stay safe, see you in the next round, and keep punching.
Hold on.
I'm with
Because, yeah, there you go. All right. I think that's better.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, that's beautiful.